Hello, dear listeners. Welcome once again to our e-platform where the theory of the mind is being discussed. Under this theory of the mind, we have looked at the conceptual views of the mind, the synonymous word used with the mind. We have also looked at the mind as a concept. We have also looked at the location of the mind, likewise different types of the mind. Also, we have looked at negativities in the mind. After negativities in the mind, we have also looked at the component of the mind. Under the components, we have touched free will, the memory, and the types of memory, likewise the functions of memory. Also, under the component of the mind, we have looked at the intellect. We have also looked at the types of intelligence, likewise the easy ways to boost the intelligence. Then for today, we shall be looking at the word emotion. Emotions are biological states associated with the nervous system brought on by the neurophysiological changes, which is variously associated with the thoughts, the feelings, the behavioral responses, and a degree of pleasure or displeasure. Sometimes emotion is often intertwined with our mood, our temperament, our personality, our disposition, our creativity, and also our emotion. Because for us to look at emotion as a broad concept, we need to look at the emotion of one person is different from the other person. But there are some things that build up emotion of a human being and also that can bring down the emotion of a human, and under which we can classify these as the types of emotion that you and I we have within us. The first one is called combining emotions. Under the combining emotions, the psychologists, they are looking at the combined emotion as something that works with the color, the will, and also this combined emotion can take a form of different feelings, such like colors, which can be mixed with another color. Because many of us do not know that color on its own has effects on our emotion. There are some colors that are not good enough to be used in a house that we live. When we use them, they change our mood, our emotion from good to bad. Likewise, in an academic environment, there are some colors that are not allowed to be used. In fact, some colors can affect the brain of a child who is learning, while there are some that can also boost the morale, the emotion of a child who is learning. So likewise an adult. Example, when you have color green talks about good emotion, because green is natural. It talks about nature. So combination of some things can affect our can affect our emotion. So you take note of that. And number 2 type under this is happiness. Happiness cannot be measured by virtue of some parameters. What makes you to be happy may not make another person to be happy. But sometimes happiness is shown by human expression. Some people, when they want to share or feel or express their own happiness, it could come by aspect of weeping. The person will be weeping unconsciously, and that person is not sad. Rather, the person is experiencing his or her own level of happiness. But what brings happiness? People might think money is the sole foundation of happiness. Some might say children, some might say wealth, some might say level of investment. But whichever way that you are looking at it, happiness is a natural endowment. That is what we have in our mind. Some people might sit down on their own and they feel so happy. Some find enjoyment, happiness in living with people. Some staying in a garden where they have various plants, while some staying with animals, domestic animal, mind you. So it depends on how you want to measure your happiness. But happiness is part of what brings about or what talks about our emotion. Then another one is sadness. Sadness is the opposite of happiness. Sadness is coming in when our emotion changes from one situation to another. Sadness is one of the things that affect the mind deeply. Sadness is expressed when unwanted situation occurs. So, change of emotion from position A to B is sadness. So sadness is one of the things that can be attributed with our emotion. And the next one is surprise. Surprise comes in the form of wow. Sometimes husband may want to surprise the wife, and the wife may want to surprise the husband. Children may want to surprise their father, their mother. Somebody may want to surprise you. So surprise comes in the form of unknown, something you are not expecting. And when that thing occurs to you, it brings what? Happiness. So surprise is when what you are not expecting comes suddenly, and when it comes, it brings about happiness. Mostly surprise do not come with form of sadness. Mostly people do surprise people with what will make them to be happy. Another form of emotion is fear. Fear is a powerful emotion that can also play an important role in survival of human. When somebody is facing sort of fear or danger, and that person is now experiencing such in his or her life. That person is might be going through a tough time. And when that tough time comes, it comes in the form of something called fear. So fear is another form of emotion, whereby, but fear is not what should be done or should happen almost every time. Normally, man lives between fearful and hopeful. For anything you want to do in life, you have level of being hopeful and being fearful about that thing you want to do. So fear sometimes also comes as a surprise. When somebody is going through a journey and something is coming suddenly, a tire could burst, a kind of a sound, unwanted one, bah! Then what comes here in your mind? That level of fear is another form of emotion which can change your emotion immediately. Then another one from there is the level of disgust. When you say something is disgust here means that something that is unpleasant, something that you don't want, something that looks so horrible to you. That is disgust. And if somebody places such to your front, it can make you not to be happy. It can also change your emotion. Imagine somebody just urinates in one container, and the person now is placing such in front of you. It is kind of a disgust happening, and which can change your emotion, your mood, your feeling, your thoughts at that particular time. And another one among these is what is called anger. Anger can be a particular powerful emotion which is characterized by feelings of hostility, agitation, frustration, antagonism towards other. But mind you, when you look at fear and anger, they are not the same. But anger is, comes where another person is affecting your emotion. Anger comes from another person, or it could be a within anger. But you should know how to control your anger on anything. So apart from this, we have another component of the mind called imagination. Imagination is the ability to produce and simulate people's ideas without any immediate inputs of the scenes. Also, it is also described as the forming of experiences in one's mind, which can be a recreation of past experiences, such as immediate memories with imagined changes, or which can completely be invented and possibly be a fantastic sense. Imagination helps our knowledge application and capability in solving many problems and challenges, and it is also a fundamental aspect which is being integrated into our experience and learning process. Imagination is coming from your mind, from your thoughts, from your feeling, from your experience, from your observation. When you imagine things, it's as if you are seeing what you are imagining. You could imagine yourself being in a place. Why imagine such? It means that you are feeling the presence of such thing. What are the subsections under imagination? Number one, you have effectuative imagination. Effectuative imagination talks about the habit of synthesizing existing ideas from existing information. You have an information and you are now looking how can you synthesize the idea from an existing information. Doing that means that what you are doing is effective imagination. Then the second one is intellectual imagination. This is the habit of working from existing plan or a definite idea and guide that idea towards a distinct purpose. You have imagined something, and how will you now put the level of intelligence into what you have imagined? When you imagine something and you attract level of intellectual capacity with what you have imagined, that is the level of intellectual imagination. And the other one is called imaginative fantasy. Imaginative fantasy is a concept of generating new ideas from the scratch. Nobody has taught you, nobody has tutored you, nobody has mentored you, but you generated the idea from the scratch without anybody's idea. When you do that, what you have done is called imaginative fantasy theorem. Then we also have empathy. Empathy is the capacity of human to mentally feel for other people what they are feeling. There is a difference between empathy and sympathy. Sympathy is when something happens to someone, you are now feeling for such person. But empathy, the capacity of the mind to assume yourself as if that thing just happened to you. That is empathy. But when you have that one with imagination, meaning you want to pitch somebody with a needle, before you do that, you have to feel the pain in your body. When you do that, that is empathy. That will not allow you to affect other person with your own evil. Then apart from that, we have strategic imagination. Strategic imagination talks about the ability to spot opportunities and visualize what might happen after spotting the opportunities. Not everybody can spot opportunity in a closed or open avenue. Some people, what they see in every community is evil, while some they see evil, but they will now turn that evil to something that can be productive and something that can be meaningful to them. So when you do that, what you have done is you have strategically imagined evil to be good. Then we have emotional imagination. This is the disposition of scenario to fuel one's emotional state of mind. You have been emotional at all times. If any little thing happen, you will be emotional. You will be carried away by the scene. And you see that person feeling inwardly Even some will go to the extent of crying for that person, and they are not the one that have been affected, but because they have that emotional imagination. What if this thing had happened to me? So that is emotional imagination. Then we have what we call dreams. We have dreams. Dreams is coming from the word you thinking more than words you have seen. Dream is the unconscious form of imagination that we as human beings we do when we are asleep. That is one level of dream. There's another level of dream that talks about you thinking about what you want to become in the future. But under the theory of mind, dream comes when you are asleep. Sometimes you might have a little nap, and before you know, you started dreaming about yourself being here, there. Even some people will be dreaming about them swimming, and when they wake up, you see their body being dry. So, dream is a form of unconscious happening of the mind, whereby that will now be transported to the conscious level of the mind. When the unconscious and the conscious level of the mind meets, then the level of dream can now be interpreted to either good or bad, but it comes from the mind. And also, if the level of dream is while okay, the person will have good emotion. If the level of dream seems to be bad, then the person will be running from one person to another, seeking for a lasting solution. Then the last one here is memory reconstruction. Memory reconstruction is the habit of regenerating images from subconscious mind to conscious mind. When you have all these, they are under the subsections of imagination. Then lastly, on the theory of the mind, what are the productivity of the mind? How can you make your mind to be productive? Number one is you delegate tasks. When you have many tasks on you, then all you need to do is to delegate some of them to another person that can actually assist you on that. Number two is to prioritize your work. There are some work that you don't need to attend to. You don't attend to all things, but you prioritize your work so that will not give you good level by which you can actually pinpoint what is most needed to you at that particular time. Then the number three is you create a schedule. You have a schedule for everything that you want to do. I need to be here by so time. I need to be there by this time. I need to do this and to do that. When you have a schedule, it will allow your mind to be productive. Then also you set deadlines for everything you are doing. Deadline for everything you are doing. If you set your goal, how will you measure your goal? Measure your goal by applying deadline to them. Then overcome much of procrastination. Procrastination affects our daily works. Procrastination is just a matter of you longing things. What you are meant to do now, you are now putting more time upon that. But when you can if you can't overcome the level of your procrastination, then it will allow your mind to be productive. and also deal with stress wisely. You don't stress yourself too much. Normally in life, there is no way we can't we can totally do away with stress. There is no way we cannot stress ourselves, but there are ways of managing the stress and also dealing with the stress minimally so that it will not weigh us down. Then the other one is avoid multitasking if possible. A multitask job that will take virtually all your time, which will affect your health. You have to take care of that if you want your mind to be productive. And also start any good things early. Whatever you deem that is good for you, start early. Then also take regular breaks. Take regular breaks in anything you are doing. Make sure you take a break in order to make your mind to be productive. How do you take break? You can rest. You can, take a walk. You can also have a small sleep, which will regulate your body. Then lastly, you should learn how to say no to some things that may not be applicable to you. Learn how to say no to some things. Not all the time that you accept what you cannot do. Learn how to say no. Thank you for your time.